Hi guys, so today we start out with magic, number 33 in the Mystical Shaman Oracle, and the essence is, this symbol represents the infinite intelligence of Great Spirit that makes up the fundamental fabric of the universe. We experience the evidence of this magic through synchronicity or meaningful coincidences. And the invitation talks about when magic appears, you're invited to see the world through the eyes of wonder and awe, taking on the innocence of a child who knows that all things are possible. Infinite wisdom or infinite potential exists in the great mind, and you are being invited to call it in and recognize the dance and synchronistic events, signs, symbols, and omens given to you through the oracle of the ordinary world. This is a sign that Spirit is reminding you that you co-create your world in a sacred partnership. Your part is to dream, to intend, and to watch for the signs, what next action to take. So again, we're talking about, needing to take action and using the signs and synchronicities around us, our inner knowing, because a lot of times I feel like that's pattern recognition also. And it's as mundane as that sounds, that's really just having that ability to tune into what your surroundings and what that Great Spirit is really trying to tell you, whether that be your inner self or your outer self. Now, when I say that, I always say that because I feel like that means something different to everybody. And I think it's interesting. There's like this theme of childhood. You have the sun over there. And we also have the Fool, which is kind of like, having that beginner mindset also. And I feel like that's what we're kind of being taught. It's like, okay, well, you learned your lessons. So kind of, start again a little bit. But now you're a little bit wiser. Now you can enjoy the journey a little bit more, right? Aquarius Rising kind of had a post about that today too. So if you're not familiar with her, Aquarius Rising 23 is a good friend of mine. I post a lot of her content for a good reason. So maybe check that out. But this oracle also talks about, recapturing that awe and wonder, the whole purpose of why we get into these type of things, right? Why we're fascinated by it. And I think that's the biggest thing. Way back at the beginning of my channel, there was some things, and I didn't really do tarot right away because I was kind of worried about like people's opinion of my thing. And I don't know why. I've never been that type of person, or at least I didn't think I was until I was really forced to kind of look at that part of myself. That's part of the whole thing, right? We start to get ahead in one part, and then they're like, oh, well, maybe I do have this issue that I need to work on. It's a beautiful thing, the journey. But anyway, so I kind of expressed about how that in awe moment, how that's kind of where we kind of recognize those things. And I feel like every single thing is kind of like that. Like science, I even talk about that. Like I feel like science is a part of that too, because there's just these things that happen, and it's kind of miraculous, right? So I just feel like this card is really talking about looking at all those things in that way, how these beautiful things just occur. And I think that's what people have been doing since the beginning of time. We notice these things, and then something sparks us to kind of look a little deeper. So I feel like we're being called to kind of fall in love with that again. Because sometimes I think we get lost, right? We go along this journey and we think, oh, this is magical and this is fantastic. And then we think that that's going to allow us to master something in 3 days, and then we're gonna figure out everything, and and then the big huge point of it all is that you're just going to be extreme wisdom and have super success. It's a little bit different than that. I feel like it's more about doing that in your everyday and kind of understanding that is the beauty of it. The beauty of it is living that every day and getting a little bit further and deeper, but at the same time taking the time to kind of look at that. And so my first row is always, what energy we're in now. We have the Sun and we have the Knight of Wands. So really this talks about we're in this really happy state. I feel like we're in this, very abundant feeling place. And but the Sun has also got this great energy, and passionate energy. And there's also this childlike energy where it's talking about that. And when we think about being a child, it's we're passionate and we're excited about things. When you think of the Knight of Wands, a lot of times that's what he is too, he or she. And I like to think of the Knight of Wands as my spiritual warrior, but also I feel it's also embracing that passionate and go-get-em spirit in that way. We are embracing that passion again and putting that into action. So, and my row of things we need to work on, it doesn't always have to be negative. It can also be things we got to focus on. We have the Ace of Cups, which, can be a new emotional or creative beginning or a new spiritual beginning. But it can also be, Spirit is trying to give us something. Great Spirit is saying like, hey, you know what? I'm giving you something. Notice a little bit. Check it out. Sit with it. And then when you have the Eight of Cups a lot of times is like that. If you look, she is looking over at the mountains, and there is the sun over there. She's leaving these 8 cups that she thought fulfilled her. And the thing is like, I think a lot of people see this and they think, I have to leave this person, or I have to leave this situation. It doesn't always have to be that way. It's just sometimes there's something that, we thought fulfilled us. And then once you do a little bit of deeper digging and really understanding of yourself, you kind of understand where the true part of that is, the true magic inside of us is. And maybe you're just kind of graduating and elevating from that point. It could be you're walking away from something, but I feel like it's noticing that there's so much more. And that doesn't have to leave anybody out either. And then in my row of what we could call, things that we have around us, be it situations, people, energy, astrological energy. I like to add that because sometimes I think that does affect us. I don't care what anybody says. There are big giant masses in the sky, and there's electromagnetic energy and all kinds of things that is affecting each other and our planet, and positions change things. The way we absorb sunlight changes, all that stuff. We are affected. So I don't care what anybody says. Anyway, so this is kind of like the resources we can use around us, whether that be people, places, things, or emotions, feelings, energy. And so we have the Knight of Swords and we have the Fool. With that, I feel like we are kind of at this new point, this new beginning. We've been there before, but like, as you know, with the Fool, he carries that little bag, and that's stuff from his last journey, right? And I also feel like with the Knight of Swords, we're kind of like, we're hungry for that knowledge. We're kind of being asked to continue on with that knowledge as a beginner mindset, because we learn more each time we go, right? We don't know everything. There's so much new to learn all the time. And I feel like, with all that cup energy that we had just had and that we need to work on, I feel like we really need to open up that heart space and really allow this beautiful, watery, spiritual and connectivity that we're really trying to do. And it could be creative too. I feel like we're supposed to be really like, this feels like an adventure. It feels like a big adventure. And it's got like new beginnings and beginner mindset type feelings, but also very passionate. And we have some wisdom here too. So in my last row, this is kind of like my outcome or what we're striving for type of thing. And we have the Three of Pentacles and we have the King of Wands. So this kind of like means a little bit more like our creative aspect. Because the King of Wands is very passionate and he's very, he's very like strong and a good leader. So I feel like there's something that we're crafting, something that we're working on, and whether it be creative, I feel like this is really saying that this is something that you're ready to kind of master. And being Wands, I feel like this is somebody, whether it be your spiritual journey or it's something creative, it's something that is that we're working on that means a lot to us and we have a lot of passion for it. And I feel like it's something that we're learning to master. And then I have 2 of the Liminal Forrest Oracles, and we have Past and we have Acclamation, which I can't say that word right. So both of those kind of make me feel like, yes, these are things that are building. Acclamation is building, and it doesn't have to be a bad thing. These are things that we're building on to what we've previously learned, or things that have kind of opened us up. I feel like the farther I go in life, the more that things kind of build on each other, right? It's not like, all the things that I've learned don't go away because I learned something new. It builds on it, and it kind of gives you that wider perspective. And I feel like that's what this is saying. And it's also things that your ancestors have taught you, or that you just innately know. I'm big on like inner ancestral wisdom, And as I'm saying that, we have Elder with wisdom. I've been getting that card a lot. So, which that is Jupiter and Pluto. It's rising from the underworld, releasing and letting go, major transformation, higher wisdom, new perspectives, new perceptions, awakening to the truth. So this is, definitely like allowing those wisdoms and those revelations that we've had build on to other things, right? And then we also have number 51 with Dragon's Blood or Anima Mundi. Yeah, this definitely speaks of that. With magic, it's understanding that all of this is connected, and having that understanding and seeing those signs and synchronicities is when you are aware of that, when you finally realize that, oh, this is so much bigger than me, right? But, I do feel like a lot of it is inside of us. I haven't made a definitive answer on that. But at the same time, the connections I feel with my husband and my kids, and just in interactions, I can't feel like it's just all that way. I feel like it's just bigger. I don't even understand how to explain that. I don't like having a theory, because then I think I spend more time punching theories and things than really enjoying what it is. I feel like it's so much bigger than we'll ever understand, and it's also so much simpler than we'll ever make it. So this is oneness, merging with the divine, access to world soul and occult knowledge, initiation, universal donor, and entry into the great void. And this is your Black Moon, Lilith, and Pluto. I feel like this is huge. This is really, again, this is understanding that connection and looking at it in awe and remembering to get back to that mindset, right? When we first started recognizing these things, because I feel like a lot of the people that would be listening to this, you have recognized this, right? Otherwise you wouldn't be here looking up, listening to tarot on YouTube, or maybe you're just curious. But it's this beautiful connection with the wonderful awe and greatness that is, right? And that's where we get that wisdom. Wisdom doesn't have to be all sad and depressing and spending all that time wondering over the details. It's accepting the details and expressing it and seeing that in everything and the beauty of what that is, right? And I did do a little bit of the Astro Dice. I got Aries and Mars, which I'm in Aries. My Mars actually is in Virgo? No, my Mars is in Leo, I believe. Yeah, my Mars is in Leo. I can't believe I don't know that. Ooh, Mars is in Leo right now. But anyway, I feel like this is not the war part that everybody thinks it is. I feel like this is the magic and wonder and awe that Aries really represents. Because being in Aries, I remember always growing up and hearing how, we're aggressive and, we're mad all the time and we're impulsive. Yeah, we're impulsive. But do you know why Aries are impulsive? Because we are just excited about everything. When you feel stuff, you feel it deeply. And I don't think people understand that about Aries. I just had to point that out. You are a massive feeler if you're an Aries. And if you're an Aries, you understand. Sometimes we misdirect that because we don't understand that, right? But yeah. And I feel like that's kind of what this is saying, is getting that passionate part of yourself and really taking action in that part of you that is excited about doing these things and being that wands are such a spiritual thing. Using that fire. Fire is so spiritual. I feel like feeling that fire within you and really getting that part of you worked up again and re-looking at these things and like we did in the beginning again, with those eyes wide open and just excited and feeling it deep in your heart center. And then I have one last card, which happens to be Emerald, which is celebrations and ceremonies. So I feel like we need to really kind of focus on allowing every day to kind of feel that way, allow these little synchronicities and these things that we're getting from spirit, be excited about it. That's what creates the magic. That's what makes the magic of this whole existence what it is when you allow to see those things and you don't doubt it and you feel it and you express it and you work with it, right? And I hope this helped somebody today, and I thank you so much for sticking with me, and I will talk to you later.